nation of over 250 million people is wrestling with a profound security crisis. Nigeria, once the beacon of hope for African democracy and economic growth, is increasingly defined by insecurity, fear, and uncertainty. The numbers are stark. Thousands dead, millions displaced, and entire communities reduced to rubble. The scourge of Boko Haram, banditry, and kidnapping has become a macabre routine, threatening to unravel the fabric of this diverse and vibrant nation. Tonight we ask, what's behind the descent into chaos? Is it a failure of leadership, a crisis of governance, or something deeper? This is the Eastern Eye. I'm Alex Obodo. Welcome to the Eastern Eye, a program that X-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. Joining me is Barrister Sam Otoboeze. He is the CEO of Abokus Integrated Security Ltd and President Nsukka Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines, and Agriculture. Thank you so much, Barrister Otoboeze, for joining me tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you, Alex, for having me.
Chinua Achebe wrote a novel. He calls it Things Fall Apart. That novel sort of describes everything that happens to Nigeria. And he also wrote another one that was the last gift he gave to the country. There Was a Country. Are we in a situation where those who understand how security works, it's beginning to look like we are running out of options? Do you think Nigeria is running out of options before we get into the whole conversation about what's going on?
Actually, yeah, the situation has been very challenging, no doubt. Looking at the rate of kidnapping, the rate of heads attack, the rate of, banditry and all that is very concerning. And honestly, is it that we don't have the capable hands to deal with this? I doubt it. But I think if there is anything that we're running out of is the leadership, because I don't see the security situation or security challenge as being insurmountable. It's surmountable, but you see, it's becoming more like political than a kind of a demonstration of incapability on the side of security agents. I wouldn't believe that we are running out of, steam or capacity to deal with the situation. What we are maybe lacking is the directive, the, position that leaders should take and say, look, enough of this, it should end. If Nigeria could go to Liberia, go to other countries to fight their war and restore sanity, it would be shocking if ragtag, arms carrier will be able to, withstand the military force we have here in the country. You know how many policemen, you know how many soldiers are well trained that, go to other countries and come back with laurels. You know how many Air Force personnel, you know how many naval personnel, the civil defense, the DSS put together. It will be shocking if we say we surrender, we can't deal with it. I think it's a lie. We can, but somebody needs to stand and say, let's deal with this.
That's right. So how can Nigeria's security strategy shift from a solely military approach to a more holistic approach that addresses the root causes of insecurity, something like poverty or even marginalization?
Okay, yeah. There's need for that because we'll be talking about kinetic and non-kinetic. The kinetic approach is relying on government forces to deal with this. But I can see that it's also possible to try the non-kinetic and combine the two, and then you'll be talking about, security integration. What are the causes of insecurity? If we know the causes, we will be able to see where the kinetic comes in and where non-kinetic can come in. You see, the society is everybody's business, we know. And what makes everybody a security person is what is contained in Anyoha model. Anyoha model was designed in 2023 at Owerri Summit. Anyoha is making everybody part and parcel of security. You see, God was not mistaken when he gave each and every one of us 2 eyes. God has the capacity of giving us 8. At every direction you're watching your environment. But because we need to complement each other, and because of the symbiotic requirement, God said, look, have 2 Sam, Alex, have 2 eyes, so that you can watch and support each other. So in that way, I think what we need to change is to engage the community more. Engage the, other security agents, and not necessarily the government security agents, but even the corporate security organizations. Use them, bring them in, make people, part and parcel of their security by getting information, protecting the information, working with the information, responding to the information. How about government just taking a back seat, arranging, packaging a well-coordinated response group, and then transfer security to the communities and say all you need to do is, when there is a situation like this, make this call, press the button. And that's what makes America and some other society different from us. That you don't need to really, responding to security incidents shouldn't be something that, the responders are killed. But because we're not using the people effectively, we're not using technology effectively, we are relying on the butt of the gun alone, sometimes becomes more difficult. But if we want to change the paradigm, then we deal with that. Again, the stomach has some challenges in unemployment. But is it something that government alone can do? No, individuals can create opportunity to ensure that everybody is busy. If you go to the street now, you see so many people begging, including able-bodied men. For me, as government, I would want to just provide an enabling environment and make it a crime that you're not working and you're able-bodied and you're begging. Why would you beg? If there is power, there is security, there is good road network, you should be able to find something that you'll be able to be doing to fend for yourself and not begin to beg and constitute more problems to the society. So, creating employment opportunity by other organizations, these are things that can help, reduce the insecurity situation and make sure that, we deal with things differently.
I mean, it's a very, very interesting situation we find ourselves in Nigeria currently. And in what ways do you think that the government can balance the need for security with the need to protect human rights and ensure accountability for security forces? Because currently it looks like there is a mix-up in how the security agencies go about their work.
The balance, accountability. You see, there is every security organization is stratified. There is a structure, reporting line, and the discipline there is that you have to report to the next, person, to your own supervisor, if you will, or commander, or whatever nomenclature it goes with. So somebody should be accountable, somebody should be responsible, somebody should be held responsible for what he or she, does. So a situation where we have structured organization and you have their roles and responsibilities, the head should account for whatever that goes right or goes wrong. So in that way, we'll be able to have a better balance in how things are done. And in the abuse of, human rights, it should be part of the training that security agents, should undergo. And I think that's been done anyway. But I think more needs to be done. That if you do X, Y, Z, you will be punished for it. And when it is done, that punishment needs to come. So overzealousness will get away. This happens in a disciplined society where the law rules. But where it is the individual that individuals are above the law, he cannot work. But where the law is above the individuals, he can work. You know your right, you know your limitations. You don't, because you're uniform, begin to intimidate anybody. You don't, because somebody has, what Lombroso may say, this is the characteristic of criminals. He has bold ear, or he has one kind, he say, oh, this person is a criminal, because using Lombroso's theory, he should be a criminal. He may have those features, but he's not a criminal. So, the security agents taking law into their hands, or becoming the judge, and then everything descending to the arena, will stop. Training, disciplinary action, handling it and making sure that everybody remains accountable for his position and for his role. And in that way, I think things will balance. But now, I don't think that's the case.
Currently, there's been a lot of talk about possible military intervention within Nigeria. The U.S. are talking tough. I'm sure you observed what happened at the Congress. They debated about Nigeria, but our own National Assembly haven't. They have not taken it as seriously as the Americans are taking it. So it looks like, despite having these challenges within the country, there is that air that maybe an American plane or American planes might fly over us any minute. And I'm sure even if you're not the president, so you have to feel it, that it's just possible that Trump might decide that they are invading the country. How does he feel, really? What do you think are the risks and benefits of having regional or international forces to, unquote, support Nigeria's security efforts? And how can their involvement be made more effective, if at all it should happen?
It's just unfortunate. Like our people will say about Harmattan, he say, if you don't lick your mouth, the Harmattan will lick it for you. Should we have come to this level? No. But because we're already there, you see, our options are limited. Trump is somebody who, he doesn't joke. When he says, I'm going to do, hold him on time before he does it. And you see, he's gotten enough backup from their own legislators. So he can do anything. So do we have option to say, Trump, don't come? No. The time has passed. But could we have done something to ensure that we wouldn't get to the level we are? Yes, of course, something should have been done. But the only way we can even reduce this thing is by really doing what is expected to be done. You see, there should be no sacred cow. And we know if government say they don't know who is doing this or where it's coming from, well, I have my doubt. Because we have the intelligence communities in the military, paramilitary, and all that. The information should be there. So, taking the bold step, staying under the canopy of this to protect the rest Nigerians should require a bold step to really deal with this thing to the root. Because in safety, you talk about root cause. Where's the root of this thing? Who is sponsoring this? Why are they sponsoring it? I think it's high time it is ended. Because already it's making us look like we don't have capable hands. But I know that Nigerians are very smart people and have the capacity to rule the world if they want to, if corruption will let us do that. So the right thing, how do we balance this, is by really taking very proactive step to deal with those who are behind what is happening. Convincing the world that we are capable of doing that. Can we stop them? Can we say this is the area you will not come? No. Because the moment there is quarrel about some portion of food in the house, the neighbors will know what was it that really was the issue. So there is a problem around the meal. And outsiders are going to know the meal and the quantity of the meal. So you can't hide it. And, they'll become more intrusive. Because you can't agree that somebody is coming to help you, and when he reaches, you say, stop here. It's not going to stop there. You know, they run a very robust intelligence, agencies and, system. And in here, they know more than you and I know. Okay? They know that most of the time that our military people are killed was caused by an insider collusion who will release information that, oh, we are coming. And this is the route we're going to take. And then there will be an ambush that will waste the best hands we could talk of. When they go outside the country, they do a whole lot. So why are they incapable now? So they can't you can't tell them, stop here, let me come and verify. No. Americans will want to confirm with you because their life is also important. So it's going to be difficult, and that's the challenge. The good thing is that things are going to change. Obviously, it's going to change. Whether it is Muslim or Christian, human life is human life and has value. And I think it is important to, do a clean sweep. Restore sanity. You go to some countries, you'll be happy. You work midnight. Nobody harasses you. Meanwhile, you may be the only black person there, but you are free to move around. Why? Because there's security. Is it that we can afford it? I don't even believe that it is the number of police. No. Deal with the funders. It's like in Nigeria, we'll fight crime in a wrong way. You go to the base instead of going to the apex. The base, kill all of them today. Tomorrow, those at the top will employ times 2. So you don't fight from base, you find from the top. Why don't you identify the top and chop it off at a certain level and cripple the base? Because the base, if the base is not funded, there will be nothing. They will behave. But because some people are interested funding, that's the problem. So good thing is going to help us to wake up. It's a disruptive moment. There's no doubt about that. If eventually they come, it will disrupt more. But I know there are things that may be done the way things are going, and it may be delayed. Or, pulled over and say, okay, let's give more time. When tomorrow now, I understand there is a marching order, or I won't call it a marching order to my own president, because that might smack, unpatriotism. So, but there is the request or demand that, look, disarm the militants. Yeah, disarm them. Disarm all the illegal, weapon carriers, and let there be sanity in the society, so that Nigeria will take their lead in the region and in the continent.
Isn't it interesting, Barrister Otoboeze, that as soon as President Trump complained about what's going on in Nigeria, the kidnappings reignited all of a sudden. You had kidnappings in Kebbi, in Kwara, everywhere you can think of. Kidnappings here and there, unity schools across the country closed down. Not a very good commentary after Trump said you are a country of particular concern. Are these things pointing to the fact that there is something fundamentally wrong? And that brings me to this question: how can Nigeria's security agencies improve their understanding of local dynamics? Is there a problem with understanding the local dynamics, or is there a situation where these local dynamics are being ignored, especially ways to develop effective counterinsurgency strategies? Do you think there is a deliberate jettisoning of this counter terrorism strategies?
Yeah, so it seems, and again, I think what really bothers me is that the spike in all these attacks after, the geopolitical increased pressure, is like, let me prove the impotency of this leadership. It is an affront, you understand? And honestly speaking, it's an affront that calls for really drastic measure to show that, no, I know what to do, but I only kept quiet. Because you see, it's like they say, stop beating this child. And the person is still warning you not to beat, and then you look for a rod. The person will say, okay, I'll teach you a lesson. So what this shows is, it's like, let's show that some other person or some other people or some other, characters are in charge, not the person, who is presumed to be in charge. And that's the worry that I have around the spike on this. Yes, are there, some other things that could be done? I'm not sure I got to your other segment of the question.
It's about the security agencies improving their local dynamics.
Okay. Because
it looks like the militants or the bandits or the terrorists tend to be more confident.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Of course, like I said, some people will say body language. So the only, a change, it's not that the dynamics, it needs to change, but change is a symbol, it's a sentence. It's coming from a root. Tell them what to do. Tell them what you want and mean what you say. You understand? So the dynamics is well understood by the security agents. I assume that they understand this and that they should be able to do that when they have the political leadership backing to say, deal with this situation. The local dynamics, is it possible that there are, internal collusion even within the system? It's possible. But again, when there is a determination to get a solution, you're going to find it. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, it might take time, but you deal with it. If there is, lack of understanding of local dynamics, this is the right time to understand it, to look deeper, to search further. But I think they are, I wouldn't agree that the local dynamics are not properly understood by those who are concerned and who will deal with it.
All right, so let me just bring your attention to something. Recently, the president gave an order that all the policemen attached to VIPs should withdraw, and there is what you might want to call an order, mandating. That order came on the 26th of November, informing all personnel of squadrons that as a matter of urgency, squadron commander directs that all personnel who are attached to VIPs are warned to report back to base as at 27th, that's yesterday. And the people who are the VIPs, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, FCT Minister, Minister of State, former Vice President Namadi Sambo, Minister of State Labor, former VP Atiku Abubakar, Senator Tanko Almakura, APC Women Leader, Alhaji Kamba, Olu of Wari, Honorable Ngozi Iweala, Senator Ahmed Lawal, Honorable Khalifa Abdul, Honorable Yusuf Gadi, Dr. Ramatu Tijani, Honorable Vetra, Honorable Moses Tenege, MD Beleko, or Baraleko, Engineer Okeke, former First Lady Aisha Buhari, and Honorable Ibrahim Masari. So, I mean, this list might not be exhaustive,
I think so.
but that we'll still have a lot of our policemen attached to VIPs. They wear the best uniforms. They look the best. The best looking policemen are not on the field. They are attached to VIPs. There could be arguments as to this. Do you think that finally that the president is starting a war he can finish, or do you think it will go the way of other directives? We've had these directives before, but the difference now is that it's the president that gave the directive himself. Previously, we heard the directive from the Inspector General of Police, IGP. What's different now? Do you think that something different might happen?
Okay, I think it's momentary. It's going to be momentary because it looks like a sweeping order, and the implementation might hit some rocks. And what will not help in the fight against terrorism is internal, conflict. Because this is going to affect, the system itself. when a house is divided, it's hard for it to stand. And that's going to be exploited by kidnappers. Because when there is this, a kind of change that is sweeping in this way, those who are otherwise have been protected will become very vulnerable. You see, it's an order which has to be carried out. But I know that those on authority and certain level of people, what might end up becoming the situation is a reduction in the number. It's not like they're going to be, everybody will be pulled out. If everybody is pulled out, there's going to be a kind of gap created. But the fact that they are maintaining the most equipped and all that is true. And to protect the general society, it's important to pull, in fact, 2/3 of all of them back to the field. Because if there is security, there is security. So, would there be a backlash? So it seems. Could it be, administratively managed in such a way that somebody who is having 12, meanwhile you are no longer in government, reduce it to 4, 2 in the house, 2 on escort. Let them be well equipped. 4 people should be enough. Then the rest can now provide the arrangement on the outer corridors.
And not withdrawing them totally.
Not withdrawing them totally. And I think that's what may happen. Then there are other, lesser VIPs. And of course, there are those who are not VIPs by position they hold in government, but because of the weight of their pocket. And those who now collect them and keep in their houses, and show, who I be. These are some of them supposed to be even those that should be enemy to the government. So I think when they settle down to do sifting, it will be able to understand who needs how many and why. There should be a justification, and it should be more redefined. It should be optimized. It wouldn't be a sweeping, action, remove everybody. It's going to create an internal crisis that will result to an internal implosion and then a weakening of the system that will create bigger problem than the ones that the intention is to be solved.
We'll take a break now on the Eastern Eye. When we return, we'll find out whether dialogue has a place in all this endeavor to bring about peace and security in the country. Stay with us. You're welcome back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV, a program that x-rays the political, social, and economic developments around us. My name is Alex Obodo, and I still have Barrister Sam Otoboeze here in the studio with me. Let's talk about how Nigeria can address the issue of small arms proliferation, and it's spreading. Small arms proliferation, illicit weapons, and what impact it's having on our security. You don't know whether the person driving down the street has an AK-47 behind the seat. Mm-hmm. So it's a problem. Do you think we can surmount it?
Yeah, there's no problem that is insurmountable. The problem is the determination to surmount. And to be, to go direct. And what kills policies, guidelines, is when you approbate and reprobate. Is when you put a law and then when A flouts it, you keep quiet, B flouts it, you say, why have you done this? So it's surmountable. Nigerians are people who like to obey the law. But the weakness we have is enforcing the law the way it should be because of, some external factors, who I be. Otherwise, it's easy to control. Why? I know that the DSS, they are super when it comes to intelligence gathering. And there's no community that you go to that they don't know who is who. It's difficult. Are we using these people? Any community you get to, they will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. In the urban areas, it's also possible that using some intelligence network, you get this and begin to recover them. But what of the border control? What of the customs? What of the immigration? What of those who are at the border? Where these things come in? Because it's not that our people lack the capacity to do a good job, but I think the willpower to do a good job. You know, I think we allow corruption to go so deep. I know in those days of NSO, you dare not try any funny thing. You dare not. That's a time that somebody will give you a bribe and you return it. You present it back to your officer, you know, to your boss and say, so gave me this bribe. Who does that now? So it's like everybody, you know, police, everybody, it appears everybody. So if we can begin to deal with corruption with high-handedness, you know, it will kind of begin to set the tone and create the warning and the deterrence that those who are handling weapons illegally, you will pay for it. So, but now it does appear that people are not even, you know, small arms coming here, you know, from left, right, and center, and everybody seems to be, you know, all Tom, Dick, and Harry seem to be in possession of a weapon, and then crime will continue to exist, including in secondary schools and all that. So it's something that can be done. Give the intelligence agency, give the police, give all the security agents, and then, of course, monitor. It will be easy to really, it may not be so easy, but it is doable.
All right. We'll take another break. When we return, we'll have many more questions for Barrister Sam Otoboeze. Stay with us. Back to the Eastern Eye here on Afia TV. We're reaching you live from Enugu, Southeast Nigeria. So let's talk about the youths of this country. Well, Nigeria has a very young population. From every indices, from every data available, we have a youth budge. And do you think that the country is paying a price for not taking care of the youth in the way it should be? And how can Nigeria's youth be engaged in security efforts and provided with the alternatives to extremism? And what role can education and economic empowerment play in this regard?
Quite interesting. Yeah, we have youth that we're not using effectively. What role can education and empowerment play? In fact, that's where we can begin to enjoy the youths that we have. The educational system, as we know, has its own challenge. The youths go to school, they acquire certificates, but they don't have a skill. I know abroad, you might go to school and decide to just learn carpentry. That's, in fact, after 2 years, and you are good, you might opt out. You don't need the degree. What you need is professionalism, you know, and that's what they do. In our own system, we focus more on certificates. So they are not getting, you know, empowered even that way. Because when you go to school and you come out and you have other skills, then you will always have something to do, even if government does not get you employed. What of empowerment? Then empowerment is relative. It's when you have to build a door first before you look for, you know, an opportunity to knock on the door. The opportunity does not knock on the ordinary bare floor. Door has to be created. So what our youths are doing, how many of them are really building the door for opportunity to knock? Is it our responsibility to take care of them? Yeah, it is our responsibility, but they also have a responsibility to help themselves. Granted that we have a population explosion because there's no birth control, and because we're coming from a culture that says, you know, that gave liberty to marry as many wives as you could, I know it's of recent that people, because of economic situation and impact of religion, start marrying maybe one wife. You know, but in those days, as many, in fact, your wealth could be measured by the number of wives and children you have. So, and since that time till now, population have been growing on its own. There are no control. But we don't have opportunities to get them sucked into, means of livelihood without just getting, an employment for white-collar job. So because of that, we have a teeming population that, of course, are at the epicenter of this security we talk about. Because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. We don't have good alternatives with them. So what do? We need to really do some form of collaborations. We need to begin to reorientate the young ones. You must have a skill. Go to school, then learn a skill. It's important. Is it something that going to get, becoming a PhD holder or this? No. You might just have a degree. So many people who succeeded today, they are not practicing what they read in the university. Some may sit waiting for JAMB for 3 years because they want to read medicine. So parents might decide to go and even buy admission for their children. Why? Because they want them to answer engineer this, doctor this. Those are not important things. Everybody has a calling. If your child wants to read music, if you want to do jumpology or, whatever it is that, then let the person express him or herself in that area. So that when he comes out, he's not going to be looking for, equip me or empower me. He will empower himself. There are those who just go to, and start plating head and set up big business in hair plating. And meanwhile, they read engineering. So that empowerment is one side. Begin to reorientate them from childhood. Let your child know that he should find something that will help him and not just go to school, come back, and at the end of it. Now, what of the business community? In the business community, creating opportunities for them to serve. But how many people are really willing to work? Most of in a great number of the youths, except if it's in my own area alone, most of them wouldn't want to do any serious hard work. It's easy work. So who is going to create that easy work? And that's why you see that, cyber crime is increasing, money ritual increasing, and all forms of easy way, drug. So again, the law needs to really, come in again and say, look, guys, if you do this, we deal with you this way. And that's why we're doing what we're doing in my foundation, training the youths, getting the security agents to talk with them, discuss with them, let them know the implication of what they're doing, getting SMERDing and IT experts to teach them. You don't need to start a business with $1 billion. You can start with little, and in the next 1 or 2 years, you will be surprised what you're making. So training, this orientation is very important because they are young ones. They may not even know what they are talking about. So we need to continue to deal with this. And where does this start? It starts from the family. It goes to the school and to the church. You go to some churches, they say, okay, children harvest, children this amount, that one this amount. Is it really necessary? No, because the child has nothing to give except the parents' money. So the parent can as well bring all that money. So do we need to start teaching bringing them into a situation that will make them pay for? We need money to do this. Mommy said there are no money. Then you go to somewhere and start paying in order to go and do harvest in the school or somewhere. We didn't need to do that. So the family has a role to play from that age. And now that some family, the pampering especially by the well-to-do ones. Oh, don't beat him. Oh, don't touch her. Oh, give her ice cream. Oh, do this. Before I ask, he started crying. Oh, find something for him to go and buy yogurt so that he can eat food. Is it not madness? Why would I bribe my child to eat? It's not serious. When there is hunger, he's going to eat. But if we continue that pampering, we are gradually cultivating criminality in the family. When that person grows and the economy thins and you can't afford that, he will sell your car in order to live that kind of life you've trained him or her. What of the school? The same thing. So the institutions of socialization need to do their work before even the child becomes an adult, and then gradually we'll have a better grip.
There's something I need us to talk about before we go. We have about 3 minutes to go. State police is now coming onto the front burner again. The demand for state police, with everything that's happening, some people believe that the government isn't really interested in fighting insecurity. That the argument there is that no one knows. Some people say that some of the bandits seem to have something on the government, and that's why the government cannot close in on them the way they ought to, not because of lack of capacity, but because they are ignoring intelligence. Do you think it is time to allow states to have their own police and run it, and have people that understand their topography and their geography?
It is time. But the problem, the challenge that may go with that, I'm an advocate of that though. But the problem is misuse. There should be a very well-structured plan to ensure that discipline is maintained. Otherwise, the fear that they will be misused for political purposes is just the problem that may likely bring. Otherwise, when you get people who understand the terrain, they will be able to fight crime more easily than those who don't even understand the terrain. But abuse of a certain position is the greatest challenge that may be faced by having that. And we also, when you call it state police, is good. Community policing can complement that effort. And I think there should be an incremental engagement in the state police stuff to ensure that we maintain a link between the federal and the state, and the discipline is maintained. That when there is an abuse, there will be a sort of consequence. Then we can learn from other countries, leverage more on the support of corporate security organizations. Because there are countries that you don't find any significant crime. Every community has its own security organization watching that place. What they do is to send a report to the security agents and they will deal with it. So when you come to a place, even malls, go to China with their population. You don't hear what we hear in our own small population compared to China. Every market, every estate, every mall, they have corporate security team guarding, reporting, and preventing crime. Because this thing is that when you know that you are being watched, there's camera, there's a foot patrol, there's static patrol, you behave, no matter how criminally minded the individual is. So if we can leverage on this, then support the state police, they will only come in on requirement and deal with the situation and return back. And then any policeman who is found to have been misused to get home and start settling land matters and leave his job, and so my community and your community, they have boundary issue, and then he carry gun or begin to make frivolous arrest. Those are the issues it will be dealt with. So with that, I don't think there's anything wrong with having state police. That would be a good thing to do, but we need to have firm control over the activities. So, I mean, in essence, you're saying that security should be treated and run like a business. Strictly so. All right. Thank you so much. Barrister Sam Otoboeze
is the CEO of Abokus Integrated Security Ltd, President, Nsukka Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture, and the founder of the Barrister Sam Otoboeze Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Alex.
Alex.
Tonight on the Eastern Eye.
Thank you.
And that's the Eastern Eye for tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow same time for another episode of the program. My name is Alex Obodo. Stay safe and good night.